What's up, CBS crew? It's your boy Steph, back with another reaction. This time we have Mr. Creepypasta, Dead Bart, classic Creepypasta Storytime, uploaded October 8th, 2019. Now down in the description, you already know will be links to Mr. Creepypasta's channel, this original video, and all of my social medias. Without further ado, let's get into it. It's Dead Bart, so I'm assuming it has something to do.
A weird way of counting Simpsons episodes.
Right, it has something to do with the
Simpsons.
Simpsons.
To count a couple of them, making the amount of episodes inconsistent. The reason for this is a lost episode from season 1. Finding details about this missing episode is difficult. No one who was working on the show at the time likes to talk about it. From what's been pieced together, the lost episode was written entirely by Matt Groening. During production of the first season, Matt started to act strangely. He was very quiet and seemed nervous and morbid. Mentioning this to anyone who was present resulted in them getting very angry and forbidding you to ever mention it to Matt. I first heard of it at an event where David Silverman was speaking. Someone in the crowd asked about the episode, and Silverman simply left the stage, ending the presentation hours early. The episode's production number was 7G06. The title was Dead Bart. The episode labeled 7G06, The Moaning Lisa, was made later and given Dead Bart's production code to hide the latter's existence. In addition to getting angry, asking anyone who is on the show about this will cause them to do everything they can to stop you from directly communicating with Matt Groening. At a fan event, I managed to follow him after he spoke to the crowd, and eventually had a chance to talk to him alone as he was leaving the building. He didn't seem upset that I had followed him, probably expected a typical encounter with an obsessive fan. When I mentioned the lost episode, though, all color drained from his face, and he started trembling. When I asked him if he could tell me any details, he sounded like he was on the verge of tears. He grabbed a piece of paper, wrote something on it, and handed it to me. He begged me never to mention the episode again. The piece of paper had a website address on it. I'd rather not say what it was, for reasons you'll see in a second. I entered the address into my browser, and I came to a site that was completely black, except for a line of yellow text. Download link. I clicked on it, and a file started downloading. Once the file was downloaded, my computer went crazy. It was the worst virus I'd ever seen. System restore didn't work, the entire computer had to be rebooted. Before doing this, though, I copied the file onto a CD. I tried to open it on my now empty computer, and as I suspected, there was an episode of The Simpsons on it. The episode started off like any other, but had a very poor quality animation. If you've ever seen the original animation of Some Enchanted Evening, it was similar, but less stable. The first act was fairly normal. The way the characters acted was a little off. Homer seemed angrier. Marge seemed depressed. Lisa seemed anxious. Bart seemed to have genuine anger and hatred for his parents. The episode was about the Simpsons going on a plane trip. Near the end of the first act, the plane was taking off. Bart was fooling around, as you'd expect. However, as the plane was about 50 feet off the ground, Bart broke a window on the plane and was sucked out. Now, at the beginning of the series, Matt had an idea that the animated style of The Simpsons represented life, and that death turned things more realistic. This was used in this episode. The picture of Bart's corpse was barely recognizable. They took full advantage of it not having to move, and made an almost photorealistic drawing of his dead body. Act 1 ended with a shot of Bart's corpse. When Act 2 started, Homer, Marge, and Lisa were sitting at their table crying. The crying went on and on. Got more pained. Sounded more realistic. Better acting you might think possible. The animation started to decay even more as they cried, and you could hear murmuring in the background. The characters would barely be made out. They were stretching and blurring. They looked like deformed shadows with random bright colors thrown on them. There were faces looking in the window, flashing in and out so that you were unsure what they looked like. This crying went on for all of Act 2. And then Act 3 opened with a title card saying 1 year had passed. Marge, Homer, and Lisa were skeletally thin, but still sitting at the table. There were no signs of Maggie or the pets. They decided to visit Bart's grave. Springfield was completely deserted, and as they walked to the cemetery, the houses became more and more decrepit. They all looked abandoned. when they got to the grave, Bart's body was just lying in front of his tombstone, looking just like it did at the end of Act 1. The family started crying again. Eventually, they stopped and just stared at Bart's body. The camera zoomed in on Homer's face. According to summaries, Homer tells a joke at this part, but it isn't audible in the version I saw. You can't tell what Homer's saying. The view zoomed out as the episode came to a close. The tombstones in the background had the names of every Simpsons guest star on them. Some that no one had heard of in 1989, some that hadn't been on the show yet. All of them had death dates on them. For guests who've died since, like Michael Jackson and George Harrison.
What?
The dates were when they would die. The credits were completely silent. It seemed handwritten. The final image was the Simpson family on their couch, like in the intro, but all drawn in this hyper-realistic lifestyle, Bart's corpse. A thought occurred to me after seeing the episode for the first time. You could try to use the tombstones to predict the deaths of living Simpsons guest stars. But there's something odd about most of the ones who haven't died yet. All their deaths are listed as the same date.
I ain't got time for
Hey there
it.
kids, it's me, Mr. Creepypasta, and I just wanted to tell you thank you for watching tonight's video. Because this is October, I'm gonna make this nice, short, and sweet. If you'd like to help support the show or the podcast, head over to patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. If you'd like to get yourself some new Halloween and creepypasta inspired teas, you can head over to etsy.com/shop/ivorymonocletea. And if you want to catch me, Creeps McPasta, and Mew during our live Halloween tour around the southern U.S., head over to creepypasta.showfetti.com. That's creepypasta.shofetti.com. Hang on to your hats, kids, because this year is a 31-day Halloween countdown. Happy Halloween and sweet dreams.
It be like that. It's nice to hear that he's doing work with like other creepypasta makers. Like what he was just talking about. He said Creeps McPasta, my bad, and Mew, whoever that is. Man, he left out Creepypasta Jr. Mr. Creepypasta, Creeps McPasta, and Creepypasta Jr. are my three go-to creepypasta narrators. And Mr. Creeps too. Those are the four guys. Yeah, whatever. Those are the four guys that I fuck with heavy when it comes to creepypastas. And y'all who've been in tune with the channel for a while, y'all already know how it is when it comes to creepypastas. Y'all know those four dudes get down like it ain't no tomorrow. But low key though, another creepypasta guy that I like, even though creepypasta isn't in his name, is King Spook. He's a little lesser known than the other four, but his work is still dope as hell. And every time I do a reaction to one of his videos, just like everyone else, I leave a link to his channel and a link to that original video that I reacted to, always down in the description. Hey, y'all need to show love to these guys. Like these five guys, Mr. Creepypasta, Creeps McPasta, Creepypasta Jr., Mr. Creeps, and King Spook, man, they be holding it down when it comes to the creepypasta community. Real talk. Unless there are other creepypasta guys that are as talented as those five that I don't know about, y'all would need to tell me about that and I'll check it out. Otherwise, those are my five go-to guys. Real talk. It be like that. I don't know. I was never into The Simpsons. I don't know why. I never really even gave it a chance. I never even like really watched it. I'm pretty sure if I watched it, then I would actually like the show. But I don't know. I see like The Simpsons as like a yellow version of like Family Guy and Futurama and things like that. Y'all can understand why. I think the same people made them, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, but you know, the animation and the humor is like the same. But I fucks with it though. Don't get it twisted. Maybe that's why this creepypasta didn't resonate with me as much as it would like an avid Simpsons watcher. But If that was a real episode, I would totally watch that. Like, y'all already know me. Y'all know I love the horror genre. So if Dead Bart was a real lost episode instead of just a creepypasta story, man, I would watch that. Hopefully it's on YouTube, and I would record a reaction to it so quick. I would probably be scared as hell, of course. But I mean, hey, that's the fun of it, I guess. It said it's a classic creepypasta story time. Creepypasta. This is the first time I've ever heard of it. Unless it's talking about the Simpsons show itself being a classic, then yeah. But the creepypasta being a classic, I'm not sure. This, like I said, this is the first time I've heard of it. Maybe it's been around for a while, but this is the first time I've heard of it and actually like listened to it. But what did y'all think of the story though? Thank you so much guys for watching my video. If you enjoyed the reaction, leave a like, a comment, and share the video. And if you really liked it, subscribe to the channel, join the TBS crew, and tap that bell icon so you will get notified every time your boy Steph drop new content, which I do on a weekly basis. That is all I got for y'all this time around. Your boy Steph is out.